Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here. Fitness Charles. And let's be fit forever. So, today I wanted to start a new stream, a new series, uh, really discussing a subject that needs to be discussed, must be discussed, absolutely has to be discussed with all the information, with all the facts, with all the truths. Because at the end of the day, this is a big killer of many humans on the planet, specifically in this country here in United States. And I think we need to talk about it a little bit more and get inside some of the deals, some of the stuff that you actually need to know, because it would be very difficult to find anyone who hasn't been affected by this topic. If it hasn't been you, it's someone you know, someone you love. So let's dive in. So, like I said, I want to start a new series talking about what is cancer, and we're going to do a little intro today. All right, just a little intro, break it down a little bit, and then we'll add topics. Also, I have another series that I'm continuing to work on. This one is called Dairy is Death, or I think it's called Death by Dairy. I can't remember which one it is. But basically, I discuss all the reasons why we shouldn't consume dairy. But anyway, before we jump into today's topic, as always, make sure that you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn in your notifications on so that you're always up to date with the latest content here on the channel. Streams twice a week, Mondays and Wednesday. Normally starting between 7 and 8 Central Time, depending on my schedule. But sometime in that window, I'll be here with you. So hopefully you caught my last stream on Monday evening. All right. If not, hey, check out those replays. OK. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get rolling here on today's topic. Right. So as you can see it right there in the corner, we're talking about cancer, and it has this lovely imagery over here. And if you don't know, if you don't remember from biology class, those are cells, right? And that's where we're going to start here, talking about cancer, right? So let's go ahead and jump into that right about now, right? So as you see right here, this page actually comes from the National Cancer Institute, right? So this is, as you can see, it's a .gov website. So somewhat credible. Anyway, let me stop. All right, but anyway, let's go ahead and define cancer real quick, because I think a lot of people are not even sure exactly what cancer actually is, right? So, what is it? All right, what is cancer? Right? We know it kills, it harms. We know it's dangerous, and it's something you don't want to deal with. But what is it, right? So cancer is a disease in which the body's cells grow uncontrollably. And this is what I want, this is the first video of this series. So as you watch more and more videos that I come out when I'm talking about cancer, keep this thought in mind right here, because this is the main idea here, okay? This is literally the main idea when we're talking about cancer. It's about cells growing uncontrollably. Another way you can look at it is basically cells doing things they're not supposed to do, cells growing too much, cells mutating and changing and doing things they're not supposed to do. But as it says here, sometimes those cells that grow, or the cells that are doing something they're not supposed to do, they can also sometimes spread to other parts of the body. There's a fun word for that. It's called metastasize. But anywho, so as it says here, and this is another thing you might find interesting about cancer, is that it can literally start anywhere, right? Just about. And the reason is because we have so many cells in our body. So anywhere just about that you have cells, you're going to be able to grow cancer, right? So it's not necessarily that, if somebody has liver cancer, or if somebody has breast cancer or prostate, whatever it may be, it's cancer. And it kind of depends on the location for the most part. Again, this is a general overview. We'll dive deeper as we continue, right? So as it says here, and I'm just giving you a general overview today, right? Going to be keeping it short and sweet. All right, but normally human cells grow and multiply through cell division to form new cells. But when cells grow old or become damaged, they die and new cells take their place. Sometimes this orderly process breaks down and abnormal damage. This is what we talked about here when we first introduced it. So when I like to teach, when I get into teach mode, I like to break it down. I like to go slow. I like to make sure that you get it, right? So when these cells are not doing what they're supposed to do, sometimes they multiply when they shouldn't. And these are not the cells. We want to make sure that our body is regularly doing our cell division, and we're getting rid of the stuff we don't need, and making sure that we're replacing it with the newest, latest version, if you will, right? 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call it, right? So that's the issue that we have with cancer, right? So let's go to some types real quick, right? All right, so where is it? No, not types. I'm sorry. That's the wrong place. Is it this one here? Yeah, here we go. All right, so these are some of the words that you might have heard before when we specifically talk about cancer, right? And again, I'm going to be very brief here, but carcinoma, most common type, and this is forms in epithelial cells. And this literally, epithelial cell tissue literally is almost everywhere in the body, right? It's on the inside, outside, the surfaces of the body. It's all over the place, right? So if it's a carcinoma, it's just it's affecting those type of cells, right? You got sarcoma, which is going to form in the bone and other soft tissues like muscle, fat, blood vessels, stuff like that. Leukemia, specifically to blood formation cells like bone marrow, right? Lymphoma, where they're dealing with the lymphatic system affecting our cells that help us fight infection. All right. Myeloma, that begins in the plasma cells, right? And then, plasma is just basically something that's in our blood, right? And some of the stuff that it does, it helps deliver nutrients and remove waste and prevent infection and things like that, right? So important things. We don't want that type of component in our blood to have any issues, right? So there's brain and spinal cord tumors, right? And it goes on and on. So the point is, there are different types of cancer per se, and it kind of depends on what type of what body part or what type of cell, what type of tissue that it's affecting, right? But at the end of the day, the main idea that you want to come away with here, with this one here, is to understand that number one, we're talking about the uncontrollable growth and spread of, where is it at? Where'd it go? Of abnormal and damaged cells. That's cancer in a nutshell, right? We don't want cells growing. We don't want abnormal cells. We don't want damage. We don't want defective cells uncontrollably growing in our body, because they're going to create a problem, right? So as far as like how bad is cancer, right? So as it says here, now if you're new to the channel, or I tell you what, if you're not new to the channel, you should already know that the number one killer of all humans on planet Earth is heart disease, right? Now this is specifically for the United States here on these stats, but all right, we've talked about it ad nauseum here. But anyway, in the U.S. here, second to heart disease is cancer. Okay, another. Now I'm going to say this, and a lot of people are going to probably tune me out and never look at my channel again. And if that's you, that's okay. Hey, we weren't meant to be. But both of these diseases here, primarily preventable, right? That's the crazy thing. All right, primarily preventable. Yes, there are cases where people have issues with their heart just based on genetics. Yes, there are issues where people have issues with cancer based on genetics. We'll get into that at a later date. But primarily, we're over 1 million people here that are dying from things that are primarily preventable. Okay. But as we see here, it is the second leading cause of death here in the United States. Right. All right. So what causes cancer? Now, I pulled this page up here just because for some people who may want to do a little research, excuse me, just drinking a little vitamin C concoction here. But for those who want to do a little research and say, hey, what in the world causes cancer? Like, how does this happen in the first place, right? So I decided to go to the American Cancer Society. Figured that'd be a good place to start. And unfortunately, the issue with this is it can be a little confusing, right? So we're looking here, we're talking about what causes cancer, right? So it says cancer is a complex group of diseases with many possible causes. So that first sentence really doesn't tell me much of anything. In this section, you can learn more about the possible causes of cancer as well as general information about carcinogens. All right, and this is a key word to remember throughout this series as well, carcinogens. What is a carcinogen? Literally, you know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I have to. Just because it popped in my head, and I want to make sure I cover the bases real quick on my intro here. So let's see. I'm going to show you my smiling face here real quick while I pull this up. Let's see. Here we go. The power of information, right? Let's see if I can find what I want. Alrighty, I think I got it, y'all. All right, here we go. So let me go back to my screen that we just were on. We're talking about what causes cancer, right? And we're on the American Cancer Society site. Excuse me. And so we're talking about here where you're looking at the fact that there's general information about carcinogens, right? So when you see the word carcinogens, a carcinogen is basically something that could make you more prone to developing cancer, could be something that might increase your risk for developing cancer. You could say it's a cancer causer, something like that, right? So the main thing is you want to make sure that you're avoiding carcinogens, all right? So inhaling them, breathing them, touching them, eating them, drinking them, and things like that you don't want to do because carcinogens increase your risk for developing cancer with that abnormal, uncontrollable cell growth, right? So real quick, I did want to pull this up just so you had an idea. And if you didn't know this, right? The WHO stands for the World Health Organization, and this report basically says that eating processed meat, and this is old, this is not new information, right? But eating processed meat is carcinogenic. All right, so let's consider that, right? Now, again, a second ago, I got through talking about the fact that these are the two leading causes of death here in the United States, and they're primarily preventable, right? Well, here's an example of how cancer is preventable, right? So the World Health Organization has reported, based on their scientific studies and data, that eating processed meat is carcinogenic. So here we get to the preventable portion that says that, hey, if I know that processed meat is carcinogenic, now we're talking about things like, hot dogs and deli meats. We're talking about, packaged pepperoni, sausages and all these different things, right? Or even the frozen meats, right? The frozen packaged meats and the dinners and stuff like that. All of that kind of stuff will qualify as processed meats, right? So these are things that you can say, well, hey, I recently learned that these things are carcinogenic. Maybe I should avoid them, right? That might be something good to do, right? So as it says, a processed meat is meat that has been transformed through the salting, curing, fermentation, smoking, or other types of processed, right, to enhance the flavor or improve its preservation. Nothing about this says to increase its nutrition. This is a company. These are companies that are making this to make it taste good so that you can go back and continue to eat it. And also they're making it to improve preservation, which means that it's going to stay on the shelf as long as possible. All right. So those are some examples. Now I'm not going to get into this. We'll do a whole stream specifically on that. But I just want to give you an idea of what I mean when I say preventable and to understand what carcinogenic is, right? So when we go back to the page here, I'm not really sure if I was somebody who knew nothing about preventative health and the human body and things, it'd be difficult, right? It'd be difficult for me to say, okay, well, let's click on some of these, right? So what is a risk factor, right? Now, the first thing is let's understand a risk factor. So I think this is the way they explain it. A risk factor is something that raises the chance of getting whatever the disease we're talking about, right? So this is also good. Cancer. Each cancer has its own risk factors. This is true. Different cancers have different risk factors, okay? So for example, let's go through some of these. Some risk factors like a person's age or gene damage can't be changed. Obviously, you're born with your genetics, and the day we're born is when we're born. So we're all going to age. It is what it is. Some things can be controlled, like tobacco use, secondhand smoke, being in the sun, excess body weight, not being active, drinking alcohol, not eating a healthy diet, etc., etc. Now, the only thing I have an issue with here is it doesn't tell you what eating a healthy diet is. It doesn't tell you how active to be. It doesn't tell you what a healthy body weight is, etc., etc., etc. It doesn't tell you how much you should or should not be in the sun. It's just telling you general information. So you're going to leave here still having questions about how does cancer even happen. And those are some of my issues with some of these sites where it's just a lot of generic information. Like, why are we asking about is cancer contagious? I don't think that's a question that anybody's ever really thought about, right? The answer is no, but there's not really a lot of information here, right? Like, let's scroll through this real quick. Let's see. Try to find something. Like tobacco and cancer is going to probably specifically focus on smoking. Yep. Right. And lung cancer. I mean, let's just do this one real quick. Let's see what comes up here. And I haven't clicked on any of these, y'all. Like we're doing this together. All right. Let's see what it says with eat healthy and get active. Let's just see. Right. All right. American Cancer Society guidelines for diet and physical activity for cancer prevention. Let's see what their guideline says. Like, you see how long it takes? This is the thing. This is my issue, right? It takes forever to get. Can we get straight to the point already? Can we get straight to the point of what causes cancer? Right? I'm going to give you a brief little overview in just a second before we wrap up, y'all. But who wants to read? Like, let's see. Let's read it for a second. Cancer is the leading cause of death in the United States, behind only heart disease. People with cancer often experience physical effects, distress, lower quality of life. For people who they're talking about tobacco. Tobacco again. Healthy choices can be made for each of us. I got nothing. And at this point, if somebody's actually looking for information on what causes cancer, they're giving up at this point. All right. We know attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. They're giving up at this point. And you have to ask yourself, is this done on purpose? Like, is it confusing on purpose? All right. Now, I'm going to very briefly give you some insights on exactly some things that actually do cause cancer. And I'm going to get straight to the point, and then we're going to wrap up, y'all. All right. So here are some things that can actually cause cancer. Let me go straight to the point. Right. So as we see here, there are some things that can actually affect our DNA, our genes, right? That can actually make our cells do things that they shouldn't be doing, right? So real quick, if you look here, gene expression. Okay, so I'm not going to get into a genetics lesson or anything like that. All right, but DNA, genetics, that's what makes us who we are, right? So anyway, so gene expressions can be altered by environmental factors such as food, drugs, or exposure to toxins. Okay. Now let's let that sink in just for a second, because we understand that we already learned that cancer is caused by our cells doing things that they're not supposed to do. And remember, our DNA basically tells our body what to do, right? If you really want to get down to it, right? So our genes, our DNA, all that stuff is going to make us who we are, and it's going to tell us our body what to do, right? So when we start making our genes do different things, we start making them have different programming, then our cells are doing things that they shouldn't really be doing. And look what is altering our genes. Look what's altering our DNA. Look what's altering our cells, right? We're talking about environmental factors, maybe the air quality, maybe the water quality, right? The soil quality, all right? Things like that. What about the foods we eat? I already showed you an example of a World Health Organization report showing you that processed meats is carcinogenic. So the food we put in our body, right? Also drugs, right? Or exposure to toxins. These are all things that we can control for the most part. Many of these things that we can control that are changing the way our cells are actually behaving, which is making our cells develop cancer, right? So these changes can range from small to significant, and certain genes in our system can be turned off or on when they're supposed to be the opposite way. Let me say that again. And I'm just gonna finish. All right. Sometimes I get excited when I start reading these, right? I'm like, ooh, this is fun. So again, we're talking about basically making our cells do stuff differently. That's what we're talking about here, right? So making our cells, this part right here is basically saying making our cells do different things, right? The way our cells behave can be altered by environmental factors like food, drugs, or exposure to toxins, right? So the changes to our cells, right? These changes can range from small to so significant that certain genes, right, we'll keep saying the word cells in this example, can be turned off or on when they're supposed to be the opposite way. What they're saying here is basically very simple, right? Maybe you have a cell that's supposed to grow, divide, die, and be removed. But instead of doing that, it grows, it divides, it doesn't get removed, it gets damaged, it becomes altered, and it continues to grow and grow and grow. And that's because of the food, the drugs, and our exposure to toxins, right? All right, so think about that. We're talking about prevention, right? Okay, so again, can we change our genes, right? Can we change the way our cells behave, right? So again, this article here is reporting on a research scientist who wrote this, The Biology of Belief, right? So let's go back here, and the writer of this is basically making a point and summarizing something that was in that writing, right? So here it says here, in a nutshell, they are choices we make in life. They're talking about the factors that result in our cells doing things they're not supposed to do. All right. So for context, right here, I'm talking about a reference to factors that make our cells do things they're not supposed to do. So in a nutshell, there are choices we make in life, what we think, right? So our whole psyche, right? How we feel, the foods we eat, right? I'm gonna stop right there. All right. All of those things influence our perception of the world, our internal world, and the way our cells behave. Imagine that. Those are all things that factor in the way our cells behave, right? So these are things that can make our genes and our cells do different things and start behaving abnormally, right? So if you want to get straight to the root cause, you want to say, hey, well, what causes cancer? Well, it could be genetics that I was born with that predispose me to make my genes do things eventually that they're not supposed to do. That is true. But it could also be the air quality, the food, and our thought process, our psyche. Those are all things that can make our cells do things they're not supposed to do, right? So real quick, I want to jump on one little bandwagon because I love to bash drinking milk, right? So real quick, I want to explain something, and then we're gonna wrap up. Remember earlier when we first started talking about what is cancer, right? We said cancer is a disease in which the cells grow look at this. Cells grow uncontrollably. All right, let's remember that, okay? And look at my definition. Look at where I'm looking. This is the National Cancer Institute who's explaining that cancer is cells growing uncontrollably, okay? So I wanted to start here. Cow's milk is a popular beverage for children of all ages. Now, we all know this, all right? Well, adults, if you're an adult listening to this stream, right? You know for a fact that when you're born, you grow, your cells grow, your bones grow, your muscles grow, your head, your brain, your entire body grows, right? It all grows. And eventually, at some point, you get to a stage in your life where you no longer are growing. There is a point at which you reach adulthood. This is post-puberty, to where you're no longer growing. Generally with generally with males, men, right? It's between the ages of what, like 20, 24, something like that. I don't know. That's when basically you're done growing. That's as tall as you're going to get, et cetera, et cetera. Generally with women, it's, between 15 and 19 or something like that. You're done growing, right? So the point is you're born, you grow, and at some point you stop growing. Now, this article was talking about the fact that does milk help kids grow? Well, the question, and we're specific. Let's make sure we're specific to what milk we're talking about. We're talking about cow's milk. We're talking about dairy cow milk. Dairy, cow, moo. That's what we're talking about, right? Cow's milk, okay, is a popular beverage of all children. So, for children of all ages, right? So let's look at some of the study results, right? One of the first scientific studies on evaluating milk's relationship to childhood growth was conducted in 1928, and it estimated a 20% increase in the weight and height among children who drank milk compared to those who didn't. Absolutely sound scientific evidence. Makes perfect sense. But let's get into the problem behind this, okay? Now, when you're a child, your immune system is developing, and when you're younger, your immune system is at its peak, right? You're able to heal faster. You're able to recover faster. Things don't get out of control as easily when you're younger. After you stop growing, when you continue to consume this product right here, you're sending a signal to your body to do one thing, and that is grow. Unfortunately, when you get to a point to where you are done growing, you should not continue to send signals to your body that says grow. When you do, you have something like this: uncontrollable cell growth and the possibility of cancer. Hopefully, these dots have been connected. So again, yeah, does it help kids grow? Yeah, it does. Because you got to remember, cow's milk is designed to turn this itty bitty little cow into this huge thousands of pound adult cow very quickly. That's what it's designed to do. So when you give that to a human, yeah, they're going to grow 20% more. That doesn't mean they need it to. And that what makes things worse is we continue to consume this into adulthood, and we continue to give our body signals to grow, which is not what we need. All right, I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to remind everybody. This is not where I wanted to be. But anyway, I want to remind everybody that you can go to my YouTube channel right about now. Oh, look, it's me live right here. You can go to my YouTube channel right now and hit playlists, right? And I want you to make sure that you remember that you can try my 3 times the burn fitness challenge for free. 2 whole weeks for free right here by going to the full playlist. And as you'll see here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 whole workouts for you to try absolutely free. Now, as you see here in the comments, if you absolutely love the workouts, which I'm sure you will, you can go and click this link, which I'm going to go ahead and go to it right here and sign up for the full version, show you exactly how it works. Copy. Let's go ahead and paste this thing. Bam. Look how easy that is. All right. Takes you right here to 3 times the burn. You can actually check out this video that should show right about now. You can check out that video right there where I'll explain exactly how the 3 times the burn challenge works. The fact that it comes with, let's see. Oh, this is how you can pay for it right there. All right. Anyway, where is it? Let's go to my homepage. That's a video. You can check it out where it explains exactly what the program's about. All right. But you can help lose weight and build muscle. It has on-demand workouts. It comes with a nutrition plan. And the cool thing about 3 times the burn is you can train absolutely anywhere, right? So that's a 60-day challenge designed to do all of these things, and it comes with support from yours truly, right? Now, if you need something a little bit more in detail, a little bit more in depth, you can get more information about my 12-week transformation experience designed to help you lose 10 to 30 pounds in 90 days and learn the skills to be fit forever. This is like we take you to school on here, right? We get down to the nitty-gritty. We unpack everything here, teach you about reading nutrition labels, teach you about the psychology of weight loss. We get down to the nitty-gritty. You can click right here and you can schedule a free consult with me right there. I'll tell you everything about it right here, okay? I accidentally clicked the book a consultation, but yeah, when you click it, It pulls up a form that looks just like this, and you fill it out. Bam, we set up a time. All right. But anyway, also make sure you're checking out my books here on the books tab on my homepage, where you can go and get my 85-15 diet plan, which teaches you exactly how to make healthy eating and weight loss simple. Right. And also my book on what you put in the toilet. And yes, it actually is very important. It can tell you a lot about your health. Right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap right about now. Remember, doing these streams every Monday and Wednesday, sometime between 7 and 8 Central Time. Oh, I went over 30 minutes. I try to keep them under 30 each and every time. Trying to shorten them down a little bit, but I couldn't stop myself today. But Monday and Wednesdays between 7 and 8 Central Time. Remember to like this channel, subscribe to the like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you're up to date with all the latest streams. Follow me at Fitness Charles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, here on YouTube, all of the social media to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing. All right. Until the next time, I see y'all. Please. My light is all over the place right now. My light is all over the place. Please be happy, be healthy.